Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The board's been in session since 5 o'clock. We've had a couple of executive sessions. I'd like to see have a motion to come out of executive session.
Motion to come out of executive session? Second.
First and second, all in favor? Thank you. Okay. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, item 5, approve April 24th and May 1st, 2025 Select Board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Public forum. This is an opportunity for anyone who wants to address the Board of Selectmen with any issue that is not on the agenda tonight. Come right up.
Good evening, everyone. Yanina Nicholas, Director of Support Services for Town of Kennebunkport. And I have 2 items that I would like to report to you. First one, I would like to invite the board and everyone in this room to the community open house that will be happening on May 17th at the Parks and Recreation Building, which is next to Consolidated School. And it will be between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. So we will have a lot of departments represented. So if you'll come, bring your kids, bring your family, neighbors, whoever, people you don't know, bring everyone. We'll have Public Works Department, they will bring their equipment. We'll have Police Department, Public Health, Parks and Rec will have Bouncy House. We'll have a little department competition who will have the best table and the best interactions and activities. So please come and support our community. It's all free, and we'll have free pizza donated by Domino's. And we also want to thank our sponsors, which is Casella, Woodard & Curran, and Dayton Sand & Gravel. So that's the first item. And the second one, I wanted to talk a little bit about trash cans, delivery trash, the whole trash and recycling process. So first of all, we want to thank Liz Stone, who is Admin Assistant to Public Works Department, because she's been the champ of this process. She took all the calls, which there were a lot of calls. We also want to thank our Public Works Department, because when Cascade left, they took from there. So basically last week, from April 28th, through May 3rd, which is Saturday, Cascade delivered cards to each household. So I hope a lot of you, hopefully all of you, saw those cards, 1 recycling, 1 trash can, 1 trash card. So on May 5th, Casella started trash pickup and recycling pickup using those cards. So if you've noticed that your card has been moved and had an orange sticker on it, put by Casella, it means that you placed it in the wrong spot at the beginning. So please keep it where Casella placed it. And the reason for it is because automated arm has to be in a specific place, specific spot to reach your trash and recycling cans. So please honor those orange stickers. We also want to remind people that old cans drop off will happen this Friday, so tomorrow, May 9th, between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m., and it's going to be at the Public Works Department. So it's 105 Beechwood Avenue. You're welcome. So the second day for a drop-off will be this Saturday, May 10th, from 7 a.m. to noon. Same place, same location. So if you don't want to use your old bins, please bring them to the Public Works Department, and our guys are planning to take all the parts out and recycle those wherever possible. So, yeah?
Does that include the blue bins, blue recycling bins?
Anything that's related to trash can-like and recycling can-like, please bring those if you don't want to use them. A lot of people want to keep those at their house. You're welcome. I mean, you can use them, but yes, anything to do with those. Any other questions?
Any questions?
Yeah.
I noticed when they were doing pickups the other day that
according to the instructions I received.
Do you want to use mine?
According to the instructions I received, you should place the two barrels at least 3 feet apart. And I noticed a lot of people that hadn't done that, so if you don't do that, are they gonna still pick them up, or how's that work?
So that is recommended by Casella, with, I guess. If Casella didn't leave orange sticker on the trash can, it means they can pick it up. So if people place them too close, most likely Casella left an orange sticker. Because this first week, the whole week, Casella had their admin following the truck and making sure that everything is in place and wherever it should be. So they have a sticker, that means they have to keep it like how sticker says. Yeah.
Does it matter the order, recycling right, garbage off, and does it, I saw one of my neighbors, an elderly person, they were sort of on an angle. Do they have to be perpendicular, or can the arm get it?
So again, the first question, the order doesn't matter, and that's because you probably noticed we have two color lids. So Casella knows which one is recycling and which one is trash. So it will go in the correct receptacle because of the lid color. And secondly, again, that goes back to the sticker part. So if there wasn't a sticker, it means it's okay and they can continue doing this. Trucks are not completely inflexible, but there's still certain parameters that they have to follow.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
Anybody else?
Quick question, I wonder, when are the trash, one of the new barrels going to go on the beach entrances?
So that question, I am not sure. I will check. I can check with Eric LaBelle and we can make an announcement. Eric LaBelle is Public Works Director. He's out today, but I can make an announcement. Yeah, well, that's the best I can do right now. I'm sorry. Yeah. Here you go. I'm just gonna not.
So, in the past, on the beach, Kings Highway, there have been two barrels. Sporadically, sometimes Public Works didn't get them out, but given the amount of trash that people bring out from the beach, we really need two barrels. We have a complication this year during the summer, and that is you're picking up on Friday, not Saturday, and rentals go Saturday to Saturday. So you can expect renters to dump stuff on Kings Highway. Have you made any plans to be able to pick that up as opposed to leaving it there for a number of days? And secondly, people abandon, broken beach chairs and what have you. Is Public Works going to pick those up?
Thank you so much for your comments. So firstly, as I've mentioned, we're still working out details with Casella on the beach pickup, and my department will make an announcement on how it's going to be and what's going to happen. I know we're cutting it close, but we're very close to figuring this out. So anything that's left outside of bins or carts will not be picked up. With that, I know that Beach Advisory Committee is working diligently to put stickers, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes.
When do they work?
on the educational program for residents and tourists about please put everything in the cards. And we made a few announcements last year, but it doesn't mean that, we'll leave it there, but we're working educational program. So that's the best I can tell you right now. Anyone else? Questions? No? Okay.
You have a handout back.
In some other cities, they have extra container bags that you can buy, purchase, and leave them outside. That's not happening here. So it's just the barrel only. Okay.
Can't you get a second one if you want?
Second trash can cart?
Yeah.
You can't.
How much is it to sell them?
So the town doesn't offer that option. What we do offer is an option of a larger size cart. So what you all received was 64 gallons for both trash and recycling. But if it's not enough for you, you can opt out, you can go for a higher size, larger size, which is 96 gallons. So Casella said that that should be plenty for a household. So if that will not work, then that's a separate deal between Casella and house owner, and town is not involved in that. But we do offer size up. So if anyone needs it, call Public Works Department.
Or size down.
Or size down. We do offer size down as well. Yep. Did you have a question? No? Okay. That's it?
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Yanina.
Is there any hands up?
Yes, there's one.
There's one.
Maureen.
Who?
Maureen Summers.
Maureen? Go ahead and let her speak. Yeah.
Maureen, you can speak?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Maureen.
Yes.
I feel like I'm a bad penny. I just keep coming back to you guys over the last few months here. But I just wanted to take a minute or two just reiterating what I have been coming to you guys and to the advisory committee over the last several years regarding the expansion of non-conforming commercial use of the beach by the Tides Beach Club.
We're going to be addressing that a little later on. Can you, it's going to be, actually, it's going to be number 8. So can you just wait until we get to that?
Are we going to be, I know last meeting, I spoke during the public forum regarding the non-conforming use. And then when you guys went into discussing the alcohol to go stuff, that we weren't going to discuss any of the non-conforming issues or chairs or anything like that. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to talk now. If you're saying we can actually discuss the non-conforming issues, then I'm willing to wait until that. But my issue is really related to the activities happening on the beach that are not conforming.
Everybody will be able to ask questions
Okay,
and make comments. That's correct.
okay, all right. Thank you.
Hey, welcome. Anybody else? That's it? Okay. Public hearing on ballot referendum questions for the June 10, 2025 town meeting ballot. The planning board and the growth planning committee are both here, correct? All right, and you have a quorum?
Yes, planning board.
Okay, you're going to have to go ahead and,
Should we state their names?
I think that'd be great.
We need them to open their meetings.
Yes.
Yep. GPC, Dan Saunders.
Yes.
Paul Hogan.
Here.
Liz Johnson.
Here.
Jane Evelyn.
Here.
Anne Marie Martin.
Here.
Rob Wangle.
Here.
Thomas Smith.
Here.
All right. Mr. Chair, would you like to call? You have a quorum? Yep. And then for the roll call for the planning board, Ed Francis, Chair. Joe Moen.
Here.
Mike West. Is not here.
I couldn't make it.
George Litch. And Peter Pfister.
Here.
All right. Mr. Chair, do you have a quorum?
Quorum, call to order.
Very good.
Okay, great.
So we have a public hearing. You've opened the public hearing, right?
I did.
And we have 4 ballot questions that will go before the voters on June 10th. And so the first 2 are regarding our ordinances, land use and floodplain. And Galen is going to review those.
So for folks who are new to this process, whenever we have a land use ordinance change, I want to give a little background information. Your land use ordinance says the planning board has to be in attendance. And state statute requires that the planning board has to be in attendance for a public hearing. And so that's why they're both here tonight, to listen to any public feedback for the proposed land use amendment that's here tonight. Once that section's done, you can all leave. You don't have to stay for the whole event. But essentially, we've been discussing this land use ordinance changes for quite some time. We've realized that there is a need to update our land use ordinance to deal with climate resiliency efforts. So a lot of people are raising structures that are non-conforming. And so we have changed the definition to exempt the stairs that are a part of that expansion of a non-conforming structure from the lot coverage requirements and the setback requirements. And this is very problematic, especially for these smaller building envelopes, especially along the beach. So with this change, we are exempting that, so it will help, again, with climate resiliency efforts in town. The other provisions that are in the land use ordinance changes are all relating to shoreland zoning. So at that point, the language has been available to the public. We've been having multiple public meetings at the Board of Selectmen meeting. So I welcome any questions that the residents have tonight regarding these amendments before they're on the ballot this June. So thank you.
Thank you.
So question 3 is regarding amendments to the solid waste ordinance. And the amendments have to do with the change to automated waste. So it was very specific in the past and dealt with Casella in terms of our automated pickup. We are going to be disposing of our waste through EcoMaine, and we wanted to make it more broad in dealing with the vendor we choose for pickup. And so the solid waste ordinance amendments are about the change in how we pick up trash and recycling now. The 4th question is regarding the authorization of a road use agreement. And so the town had concerns after the January 2024 storm regarding the flooding and whether or not we had adequate evacuation route for those at the beach. So the residents of Beaver Pond and Prescott and a portion of the old Marshview, which is now Summer Breeze, and the town discussed making sure that that was an available evacuation route. It will require the town to make some improvements to the road, including the installation of a culvert, clearing of current culverts, and an application of gravel. The cost of those to be done in-house are not to exceed $10,000. And in return, the road association will allow the town to declare it an evacuation route in the event of an emergency. And so those are the 4 questions before the town. If anybody wants to see these documents, they are on the website under Town Clerk, Elections and Voting, and you can see the track changes of the language as well as the questions that you'll be voting on.
Does anybody have any questions now? Anybody on? Okay, well, thank you. Okay, consideration of a renew.
You have to close the hearing. Yeah. We need to close the meeting.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. The meeting's now closed.
And the planning board and growth planning are gonna adjourn, I believe.
Yeah.
Call the GBC meeting closed. Planning board meeting also closed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you guys for showing up. Okay, item 8, consideration of a renewal liquor license for the Tides Beach Club, LLC, 930 Kings Highway.
Hi, Emily.
Good
Hi,
evening
Emily.
again.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Nice to see you all. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Emily Nelson. I'm the general manager of the hotels and restaurants in the Kennebunkport Resort Collection, including the Tides. While I'm new to some of you, I've been employed with the company for over a decade, since 2014. For my many years with KRC, many of them were spent managing the Tides, 4 of them to be exact, overseeing operations at the front desk and the beach, and ultimately the operation of the entire property. If you ask my colleagues and friends, the Tides and Goose Rocks Beach is one of my favorite places. I share the same love for this special place as all of you do, and I operate the hotel in a way that respects it. The issue tonight is simple: renewal of our liquor license at the Tides Beach Club. We are reliably informed that the issue with our renewal is solely our right to sell cocktails to go. And if we drop our right to this, our approval will be granted. I understand the authority to make the decision about selling drinks to go is a decision controlled by the state of Maine. The Tides has had authorization from the State Bureau of Liquor and Lottery Affairs for 5 years, since 2020, and has never had an issue or complaint from the town of Kennebunkport about it until now. Additionally, Governor Janet Mills passed into law in April 2023 the permanent ability for restaurants, bars, and hotels with a standard liquor license the privilege to offer alcohol to go. It is also noted that Kennebunkport as a municipality is listed on the state website as approved for off-premise consumption. The right to sell cocktails is common in Kennebunkport. It is a right held by 24 of the 26 restaurants in this town, which is 92%. It is a right the 6 restaurants within the Kennebunkport Resort Collection have, that this select board approved in your meeting on April 24th, which we thank you for. This is now the 3rd meeting related to this liquor license renewal that I have attended, at which many other local restaurants have had their annual renewals on the agenda. I've witnessed 0 discussion or public concern about the renewals of their licenses, but here I am again for the 3rd time fighting for our restaurant to have the ability to serve liquor, a right that the Tides has been granted each year under our ownership since at least 2011. Therefore, I'm just confused as to what we're being asked to do here tonight. As the statute in 28A, 653 in the state law outlines the limited grounds by which a liquor license can be denied, I have the list here. A conviction of the applicant of a crime, conditions of waste disposal violations, health and safety violations, repeated incidents of record of breaches of the peace, disorderly conduct, vandalism, failure to obtain or comply with provisions of a permit for music, dancing, and entertainment required by the municipality, and noncompliance of the licensed premises or its use within any local zoning ordinance. The only issue that could possibly apply to the Tides is the alleged expansion of nonconforming use related to the local zoning or land use ordinances. But to date, the Tides has never received any notices issued by the code enforcement officer stating that it has been in violation of any zoning or land use ordinances. So I do not understand how the board could find that we are in violation of anything. Therefore, I would like to address the suggestion that this request is an expansion of nonconforming use and whether our offering of any item to go, food, beverage, or otherwise, is an expansion of use. I can attest from my 11 years working for KRC, selling food to go or selling food and non-alcoholic drinks on the beach has been part of the practice for all of those years. I have here an email from the owner of the property, former owner, Marie Henriksen, which we all know, which was prior owner in 2011, stating that under her ownership, the property, quote, we always sold food to go. Also, I have a snip from the Tides Inn by the Sea website, if you'd like to see, I have it, showing that the property is a, quote, libation destination. Simply, our request for a liquor license is not an expansion of use, it is just a continuation of historical operations. Despite what some have claimed, our intention is not to serve liquor on the beach, and it never has been. It has become clear over the last few meetings that community members and this select board were unaware that we had the privilege of selling cocktails to go. Therefore, the concern that approving this renewal license will somehow jeopardize the family atmosphere of Goose Rocks, increase the trash generation, lead to increased incidents due to intoxication, or any other unfounded suggestion made in the prior meeting is honestly absurd. Honestly, what is the harm in us continuing to operate in the way we have been if you didn't even notice? Ultimately, is this liquor license renewal issue really just intended to hurt our business and not for any legal reason? We do not understand why. We're good community citizens. In 2024, the Kennebunkport Resort Collection donated $200,000 to local organizations like the Kennebunkport Conservation Trust, the Maine Audubon, with support of the endangered plover species on Goose Rocks Beach, and other local organizations. We plan to make the similar donations this year. We employ many southern Maine residents with good paying jobs and health care, in addition to many of the children of Goose Rocks Beach homeowners in the summer months. Many of those residents, it should be noted, that are here publicly speaking in opposition of renewal frequent our restaurants, including the Tides Bar, whereas it was recently this past Saturday at our annual Kentucky Derby Party celebration. We were glad to have you. So why are you trying to hurt our business without any legal basis? The Tides Beach Club, under previous ownership as the Tides Inn by the Sea, has been granted by the state to sell liquor for the last 50 years. Let me finish by saying simply to the members of the Select Board this evening, denying the renewal of the liquor license lacks justification or legal grounds. We remain committed to being a good partner with the town and local community where appropriate. I'm willing to discuss the larger issues at hand that are evidently clouding the decision this evening, but I do challenge that the beach argument that the community members here feel so strongly is not related to the renewal liquor license application that we have filed. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, is there anybody from the public that would like to speak on that? Okay.
Richard Driver, Goose Rocks. As part of the application, you have a diagram of the floor plan. Obviously not to scale, but could I trouble you to pull it out? It's,
We have it. Yeah, we have
you
it.
got it?
Yep.
Okay. So, as you see the porch, there is a space there to the left of that porch area is the entrance to the facility. In the past, there was a wall from the porch area back, and next to that wall was the reception area where Maria Hendrickson sat every evening. The restaurant was on the other side of the wall. The area to the, looking at the diagram, the area to the right was a sitting room. It was not a restaurant. The porch did not have service. What they say is the front yard, there were no chairs and tables there. It's obviously an expansion of the use. The leading case is Frost versus Lacey. And they say there cannot be a change in the area that was non-conforming. So the restaurant was in one area. You can't break down the wall and expand that area. And you can't change the character. Now, if you read the state law and the application, the Tides is going to sell malt liquor and wine in original containers. Is there a limit on the number of bottles of wine or cans or bottles of beer? It's not in the statute, and it's not in their application. So, yeah, you remember my example the last time we spoke about the tomato juice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, let's say I have the same place down the street in Belvedere, and I have 20 of my friends, and I didn't plan very well. So I'm running out of beer, and I'm running out of wine. I can go down to the Tides, order a $22 hamburger and a case of beer and a number of bottles of wine. Do we want that? I mean, that is what you would be approving if you approve this license. Now, in terms of the non-conforming use, I wrote a memorandum that you've all received, and I mentioned in it that it's an inch by inch that the Tides has done for years. So, expanding the restaurant is one part. Expanding the property to have an outdoor restaurant is another part. And the beach area, the tenders, the service of non-alcoholic beverages and food is not something that was done before, nor were there even any chairs there, nor were there surfboards or kayaks. All of that is an expansion. Now, the code enforcement officer may not have issued a cease and desist, but it sure is in the offing that if this expansion is against the state law, our own ordinances, Uh, And the tides is subject to pulling back what they have done. I mean, granted, lots of people like going there, but it is an anomaly in terms of Goose Rocks. We have just the general store and the tides. And as I said in my memo, they used to chase the Good Humor Man away.
Can you say that again? The chase what?
Years ago, the Good Humor Man would be,
Got it.
would come to Goose Rocks, you know, to sell ice cream to the kids on the street, and he was chased away because no commercial use is approved for Goose Rocks, for that zone. So I think you'll be negligent in your duties if you approve this license. It's very simple. The tides can withdraw the to-go cocktails, and maybe everybody will quiet down about all of the other violations to the non-conforming use. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi. Kate Bauer-Burke, also Goose Rocks Beach.
Kate, you gotta speak in.
Just lift it up a little bit.
Okay.
Good.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Get as close as you can to the microphone.
Okay. Kate Bauer-Burke, Goose Rocks Beach. First of all, I understand Emily's confusion here to some extent because situations have been allowed to exist that I submit should not have been allowed to exist. However, I also want to tell you, I love the tides. I've got nothing against the tides or KRC. I used to practically live at the tides, and I'm not arguing at all about the issue of the tides when it became part of KRC. Kudos to KRC in general because on every property they have bought up here in the Kennebunks, they've greatly improved the kitchens, perhaps the ambiance of it. I mean, we've been here for coming here for a long time, and we used to eat occasionally at the old Tides Inn, and it is remarkably different. But the business, it was the same. The business of having a modest inn or an inn with a restaurant and a bar. Now, I'm surprised, quite honestly, to hear the issue about Marie, whatever her last name was, saying she used to do takeout because I was not aware of that, and nobody I've talked to of longer-term residents who either worked there or ate there had said any knowledge of that. As a matter of fact, it was quite the opposite. Everybody said, oh, no, we never did. That goes to the, so my problem is not with the liquor license. My problem is with adding on a component in that liquor license that was, again, never part of the business as it was grandfathered. The same thing applies to the activities that are taking part of the beach and which have a direct impact on the beach, which was, we know before people were concerned about overuse of the beach. It led to some previous litigation, as I recall. It's an issue on our beach. And when you essentially start offering many more services on the beach that were ever for a commercial reason, and to your guests and guests being brought in from other properties of in your commercial business, that is so far beyond what the Tides Inn in its grandfathered form ever did. So my submission to you all is that we need to get some information, maybe legal information on that, and I would like to ask the code enforcement officer to address the issue. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Alex Lacchiato, Goose Rocks, Bel Air Ave. I have a question. Have you consulted with legal counsel in terms of whether or not the zoning ordinance trumps the application for the liquor license? And if so, what was the opinion?
We have talked to them.
And what did they tell you?
We're still working on it. We're not there yet. We're still working on the whole thing, and it's.
I'm
we're
not
quite
talking
there
about the
yet.
whole thing. I'm only talking about the liquor license, the request for to-go cocktails, in my view, is an expansion of a non-conforming use. Have you asked them
That's what
directly?
we're working on that.
Really,
We are
Alex,
actually
can't-
working
Please
on it.
don't ask it. That is an active pursuit that we're looking at. I'm pleased to hear your comment, and I think that's important to put in the record. I don't think it's appropriate for us to comment about our interactions with legal counsel at this point in time. Please accept
Well,
that.
eventually you're gonna have to.
Of course.
Absolutely.
All right, well,
Yep.
the other thing I would say is this. I have no objection to the Tides having their license as it relates to the inn, at the bar, and in the rooms. And and serving liquor and food on the lawn, which never, ever happened when Marie owned it. And I hate to say this, but it would seem to me that if the Tides wanted to have some of these issues go to bed, they would withdraw their request for takeout cocktails, because one never knows, if you grant that license, what may develop, as far as the Tides is concerned, with reference to the numerous expansion of non-conforming uses. And the to-go cocktails, the amount of money they're gonna make on that is insignificant to what would be lunch and drinks on the lawn. And furthermore, we're dealing with a rule of law. The law of Kennebunkport and the zoning ordinance says no expansion of a non-conforming use unless you get a variance. They can't get a variance because anything they are trying to do as far as an expansion is not a hardship related to the land. So let's follow the laws. You don't want to tell me what your attorney said, but I frankly believe she or he indicated that the zoning ordinance trumps the liquor license on to-go cocktails.
We're
Thank
working
you.
on all that.
Thank you,
We're
Alex.
looking into it.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Alex.
Thank you.
Hi, Deanie Coffin, 4 Sandpoint Road. Well, I had a speech all set so that I could be quick, but I just want to address the non-conforming use. And while I have been at the beach for over 50 years and, went to the bar that used to be there, that you sort of had to be a squirrel to go to. But I think what everyone is saying could easily be ironed out once you put together the legal, with the attorney, what's her name, Amy Chow. Anyway, when she comes through with her opinion, I happen to have spoken today to a commissioner, for Bablow, and I also spoke to 2 different people at the board, at Bell's, and it sounds like everything I've seen, because I've been watching from home, everything I've seen from the beach advisory to the Board of Selectmen could easily be resolved if everybody got into a room and said, okay, here's what used to happen, this is what we will allow to happen, and yes, it is a non-conforming creep. And if you continue to, you say to the Tides, if you continue to do this creep, this business creep, then, you'll be sued. And I think that there's plenty of people here, and there's plenty of money at the beach, that you will be sued. So most of us have always enjoyed the Tides. Most of us have always enjoyed, meeting friends there. And I personally love the renovations that you've done at the Tides, because I know what it used to be like. However, I do believe, and I formally request that you have a meeting. I mean, I was here, I put this together today because I was going to read it in the open forum. And it does address, it does not address at all the liquor license. It addresses what I consider to be called commercial creep. At least that's the way it used to be called in my town. And I think if the board continues to allow this creep, as Alex said, if, for example, this to-go license, when that came through, was the application, which is what I asked them to dig out today, and they couldn't find it, the application from the Tides, was it noted that it was a non-conforming use and that this was an expansion of use? Well, they couldn't seem to find that. They didn't have anywhere that they could find that. And so I defy you to go ahead and find it, and if the attorney can find it. I mean, I would go to Augusta and ask them, but I just don't think it exists. So I think you have to adhere to the non-conforming use. The Tides has to admit and adhere to the fact that they have expanded the use when Marie used to own it. And then where do we go from here? And I think that's what needs to be addressed. And I think no one is objecting to the restaurant and the mini bars up in the rooms. No one is objecting to that. What people are objecting to is that there has been this is a non-conforming use.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
you have to address the board.
This has been a non-conforming use, and that it has to stop. And people have been complaining and complaining, especially people who live on all the side streets that are near the Tides. And they feel intimidated by all the stuff that's there now, and they feel that there's not a space for them, and that we can't use the beach use agreement. We all know what that caused. I mean, it was hell for the town, and people, weren't friends anymore because of the issue. So I think what you're hearing from people is that they're upset about the expansion. They don't want any more of the expansion, and if you're going to give a to-go license to them, then is that going to cause an expansion? And I think that needs to be addressed. So again, I formally ask the board to, everybody get together and have it as an agenda item, not just this and willy-nilly, but it needs to be completely addressed, or it's just going to be an ongoing issue.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Well,
Hi, my name's Pam Sikansky, and I'm from Goose Rocks as well. And I would just like to share an anecdote with you. And we had house guests in July of 2022, and it was 11 in the morning. And then one of them said, let's go down to the Tides. I wonder if I can get something to drink. And they came back with a paper bag with 4 pre-made drinks in it, and there was no food. And my understanding is that the regulation is that it has to be sold with a regular meal, not just drinks in a bag to go. And I just want to share that with you because I observed that firsthand, and you need to know that.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Driver?
So I hate to disagree with some of my fellow Goose Rockers, but it's premature to talk about litigation. We've had enough in the town. We do have a problem here. There are violations of the ordinance. Let's hope we can work it out. And I respect the fact that you have had discussions with your attorney, and it's attorney-client privilege, and you don't have to divulge it until you're ready to act. But when we were here last time, the representative from the Tides indicated that the Tides liquor license, ran out on the 12th of
May.
On Monday.
on Monday. So if you're still considering this, what happens to the Tides on the 13th?
Are you asking a question?
Yeah, I'm asking you. You obviously must have some plan. If you're still considering the issue, I'm assuming since you're considering it, you're not going to approve it tonight.
We're not sure yet.
Okay,
But
well.
we're working on this, and we're going to try to get there in one form or another, whether it's denied or tabled again or approved. We're not quite there yet. I think there'll be a few more people that want to talk, and then I think the board would like to say a few things, and I would like to probably, in the end, have Galen come up, and maybe you could answer a couple of questions for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd just like to note, kind of for public record, right, we're here about the renewal liquor license for the Tides at the end of the day, right, to clarify. We're not here for any of the expansions of nonconforming use that are being discussed here. We're about the renewal liquor license. And I'd like to note that the to-go piece of this license that has been included in our liquor license for the last 4 years is actually verbatim here from the state, not necessarily a vote that the municipality makes. It's an approval by the state of Maine. And so I would like to just kind of point that out, that it's always been attached to our license since 2020, and it is, because it has existed, it's not a new request, and it has been approved by the state of Maine. It's not a matter of town municipality to approve this. Yeah. And I do have the letter from Marie Henriksen if you'd like to see that, or any of the other SNPs.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we have it duplicated?
Can we put that into just a public?
Either board one?
Yeah, I'd like to.
I particularly love the snip at the bottom.
Is there a date on that?
Just 2 days ago.
Yeah, right here.
Thank you.
Are you finished?
No, I'm not all set. Thanks.
Are you going to be submitting that to us?
I certainly can. I'd like to keep
Yes.
that copy for myself. But
Okay.
yeah, I can send it to you.
Please.
Too bad we didn't have a copy machine.
We do, but it's locked up. You could take a picture of it with your phone.
Yeah, you can take a picture.
Oh, I never think of that. Thank you.
My phone's in the truck.
You can use it.
Okay.
That's what David's doing.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask her, she's going to submit the. So, hey, Emily, could we take a picture of that?
Sure. Can I just read the expert and then I'll
sure,
give it to you?
absolutely.
Yeah. I just wanted to note, we all know Marie, right? I know many speak very fondly of the time that she managed the Tides. Obviously, I had the luxury and experience of speaking with her when she used to come into the bar when she still owned the property next door. I believe she's watching tonight. I just want to kind of, I don't think that the struggles around the Tides and kind of what we've been experiencing from a community's perspective is anything new. And so I just want to highlight that there's always kind of been an emphasis on how the Tides operates at Goose Rocks, whether it's been the Kennebunkport Resort Collection owning it, EOS Hospitality, or Marie Henriksen, who we all love, right? And we all have fond memories of how she operated the Tides. I think it's interesting at the end of this letter, she says, "It seems many people who fell in love with Goose Rocks Beach and Kennebunkport because of its special seaside ambiance chose to limit others' enjoyment of being overpossessive of their newfound kingdom. Town fathers, take note. Zoning laws are now so restrictive in this town, could not be built as it is today. Yet everyone wants to experience it because it's so special."
Could I have a picture of that?
Certainly.
And you're going to put this into, you're going to submit this to evidence in your case? Okay, great.
I can take a copy. Can I take a copy?
can get in the photocopy room.
Would you like some of the other pieces?
Thank you.
Thanks, Emily.
You're done. Hi, Rob Wingle, Kings Highway.
Can you please be quiet?
I wanted to point out a few things. One, the town's comprehensive plan that was approved for 2030 indicates that we have a responsibility to be supportive of year-round residents, the summer surge of residents, and visitors, and be welcoming. And in fact, that the hospitality industry is a very important part of our economy, employing people, supporting a lot of commerce and a lot of the locally owned businesses in town. Why there seems to be a selective focus on the liquor license for the Tides only, when 24 of the liquor licenses in town allow for the on-the-go purchase of liquor, is not completely clear. It feels to me like we are chasing a completely different problem and taking it out on the liquor license. So I would strongly encourage the board to focus on approval of a liquor license where there have been no complaints, there have been no problems, they have not been reported to the board in Augusta, as I understand it. And they've been a good citizen and been a good gathering place for our community. As was indicated, this past Saturday, around the opening of the Tides, it was a place where a lot of people who hadn't seen each other all year came together to be a community, and they are a very central part of the Goose Rocks community. So if there are concerns about the Tides and encroachment and other things, let's address those in the right forum. This is about approving their liquor license so they can continue just as every other liquor license was approved with no discussion. So I encourage support of the Tides. I think they are a good member of the community. That doesn't mean that they're perfect, doesn't mean that there shouldn't be discussion about how they interact with the community, but I think overall they're good for us, and they deserve the same treatment that every other liquor license application received. Thanks.
Thank you.
Just a quick comment on that, Kate Bauer-Burke again. There is, in fact, a distinction between this venue and all the other venues in town who might have this license, in that in this zone, it was decided a long time ago that the businesses that were operating at that time could continue to operate in what was otherwise becoming a non-commercial. The voters in this town decided that the Goose Rocks Beach Zone should not have any commercial activities other than the 2 or 3 at the time that existed. And in order not to damage them, they were grandfathered, but to the extent of what they did then. So there is a distinction between this organization, between the Ties, because of its location, and the others. And we're not arguing about the to-go with regard to all the others. And I realize that we want to keep this focused on this particular issue of the liquor license renewal. As I said, most of us had no idea there was a to-go element at all, but fine, it was there. But there is a larger issue that it is as a potential expansion of a non-conforming use. And certainly there are other issues of expansion that we believe, many of us believe, go with this organization. And I'd like to ask either somebody here or town manager, what would be the proper process to follow? I mean, a lot of us have watched this happen on the beach.
We're working on this right now as we speak, and it takes time to get all the correct answers because we want to do the right thing.
And we understand that, and we appreciate your doing it, but I certainly, as a member of the Beach Advisory Committee, this issue has been on our agenda for quite some time,
This might be an important time to ask that our code enforcement people just take a look at some of the concerns that we've heard here, and maybe put together something that could come to. I would like to see some of these issues that have been brought up about the non-conforming use run to ground. My understanding is that the to-go liquor really can have an association if it's tied to a non-conforming use. So to that extent, I think it might be good if the board would agree to ask our code enforcement people to take a look and officially report back to us.
Yeah, well, I agree 100%.
Any of us would be more than happy to provide information of what we've seen, what our experience has been, on the issues that people feel uncomfortable about and the way we've been hoping to get some resolution of for some time, so.
Well, thank you. Did you want one more?
Well,
There are
can-
2 people on Zoom. but they're-
People on Zoom?
I got the impression, maybe I have it wrong, that Miss Nelson said, at least I thought she said, that they really didn't have to come here to get a liquor license. The to-go piece of it. And,
That's-
then
they
why
have
are
to-
they here with it?
They have to submit a liquor license
Well,
to the
Mr.
town and the
Bancroft
state.
said, at the last meeting, when I said, let's split the baby here and give them the regular liquor license and deny them the to-go. He says, well, it's automatic. You apply for one, you automatically get the other. That's your quote.
What I said was that the state of Maine issues a liquor license. And in that liquor license, which is what everyone thinks of as a liquor license, that you can serve on premises,
Right.
okay? With the hotel, they also have a right to the minibar, okay, in the hotel rooms. But the state of Maine provides a privilege to the liquor license that is a cocktails to go option, which came in during COVID and has been codified.
Right.
So that, it's not up to the, so when your question 2 weeks ago was, could we kind of split the baby? The answer is, and I believe, I heard it again, is, the answer is no. We cannot split the baby. We either give the liquor license or we don't give the liquor license. That's my opinion of what I've heard, okay? You either give the liquor license or you don't. The state grants the cocktails to go as part of the overall liquor license that either we're going to approve or disapprove.
So where did you get that
That was my
opinion?
conversation with the state liquor board, how they explained it.
Oh, so it wasn't with council.
And that's why we know that the 23 of 24 restaurants in this town have it.
I suggest you can deny the to-go tonight and give them the liquor license. I don't want to see the Tides not operate as they have within the
Right.
hotel.
Right.
I don't. And I think you can do it. If you're wrong, somebody will tell you. Your counsel will tell you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Mary Beth, you have,
Yeah.
You can't cross-examine a letter, and it's not a sworn affidavit.
So I just would like to ask if, at this point, could we allow the board to make some comments?
Yes.
Well,
Based on what we've
We
heard?
we have some people on
after
Zoom
this
too.
lady here, we
And we
will.
have some people on Zoom,
Yep.
so.
Hi, Deanie Coffin again for Sandpoint Road. I just want to relay my conversation with the person who is a commissioner, on the Alcoholic Beverage Board and Lottery. They said, and I specifically asked because I watched it via Zoom, and you did say it all comes together as one. I asked them specifically if there was a non-conforming use stated regarding the application, would that make a difference? And she said, yes, it would. Hence, call them back because she was not there in the office, and I called them back and asked them to find it. They did find, 2 applications, but they could not find the original application where it said that it was a non-conforming use. So I think that has to be established, because she specifically said, if it's a non-conforming use, then that would be a red flag for them. So I think that's why I feel strongly that you need to address this with town council, with the Tides, and I don't want to see the Tides not get their liquor license for their restaurant and for their rooms. But I don't see why you can't table that part of it, because she said you certainly could. And again, it's, she said, he said, but it's not in writing. But I don't understand why, exactly what Alex said, and Richard, that you separate them, give them the liquor license so that they can, have it after May 12th when it expires, and then contact, or if you have to, go to the, to the board up in Augusta.
Thank you. We have 3 people on Zoom, and then after that, I think the board's going to ask some questions and whatnot, so you want to? We have one left. One left? Okay.
Linda, you can speak, please?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
What was your- beg your pardon,
Linda
but what was your
Kramer
name,
at
ma'am?
Kings Highway.
I didn't hear it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I just wanted to say that I'm not opposed to them having the liquor license. They've had it for 5 years. Give it to them for a year, keep an eye on them, watch what they do, and then maybe next year don't give it to them. But I don't see any reason not to let them have the liquor license. I'm not saying that they're the best neighbors, but I'm just saying, I just wanted to put that out there to let them have their license. That's it.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody left on the Zoom?
Yeah, 2 more people.
Okay.
Maureen, you can speak, please?
Oh, hi, I'm back again. Maureen, Goose Rocks Beach area. I have been coming to the board for, I don't know, a few years now at this point, with regards to not the liquor license. I have been coming to the board and to the Beach Advisory Committee regarding the issues that are happening on the beach in front of the tides. And when I tried to talk earlier today, I was pushed to this area of the alcohol to go. I have used the alcohol to go for the last 5 years. I don't have an issue with the license of the to go. My issue is clearly with the non-conforming things that are, and amenities that are happening with the beach tenders and the close to 200 chairs and all of the watercraft and all of the other things that I've been speaking to you guys about. I am agreeing with the selectman. I think it was Daggett, Selectman Daggett, that just spoke with maybe getting the ordinance officer out there just to take a look. I've been asking to get it on the agenda for quite some time, and it hasn't been on the agenda, which is why I was trying to speak at the public forum. I am not here about the alcohol to go. I am here about the conforming issues. So if we could address those before and set a time limit on that, we could get it before the season starts, because the Tides is trying to run their business too, right? And so we all need to work together. And, you know, good neighbors respect boundaries, and I have no reason to accept that they wouldn't be willing to meet with you to make sure that they are meeting the codes forth and the beach use ordinance that's in place. That's all I wanted to say, and I just hope we can do that, you know, and get this all set so it doesn't continue on and continue on. Let them have their license, and let's move forward and address those non-conforming issues.
Thank you. Is there anybody
Thank you,
else?
Maureen.
Thank you so much. What happened?
Okay.
Jim, you can speak, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm just going to reiterate a few things that people have said. I'm a neighbor of the Tides right around the corner at 10 Crescent Ave.
I'm sorry, Jim.
A lot of the people who have spoken.
Jim, could you please state your name and your address, please?
I'm sorry, I thought I said that. Jim Sullivan, 10 Crescent Ave at Goose Rocks Beach.
Thank you. Okay.
So I had sent an email after the last meeting to the board and got a nice, quick response. I appreciate that. I do feel the Tides is an excellent neighbor. I do think, like a few people have said, these are mutually exclusive issues. I think the fact that if there are issues with the chairs and so on the beach, which don't personally affect me because I don't go down to that component of the beach, that's my, that's my choice. But I think they're completely independent, and they're using this to try to push an issue, which is fine. They should push that issue separately. Let the board look into that if it is if they're not adhering to the approval they've had in the past to be on the beach. But they've been a very good neighbor, and the representative from KRC made had the discussion about the 200,000 they give the town. That money doesn't come easily. And I think that should be appreciated by everybody. And I do believe they should be granted their license. And I would tell you this, until it was made known, I think someone has said this, until it was made known that the to-go component of the license was on it, nobody knew the difference. And now we're bringing it up to push another issue. And I think it's a legitimate issue they're pushing, but it should be done separately, completely separate. And the board should approve the license tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No? You,
Fred Stafford, Kings Highway. The best thing I heard tonight, I think, was the word creep, commercial creep. Because while I know we're discussing the liquor license and all that, I don't think we would have so many people turning out for this and raising other issues if it wasn't for the creep that we've all experienced since the tides has been taken over. And, you know, there are a lot of things that go along with that. I thought it was quite humorous, actually, that Emily, Tides representative, read that part from Marie saying that basically people at the beach were complaining because we're trying to prevent other people from coming to enjoy the beach, when actually what's happening is we're trying to actually prevent that. What we're trying to do is prevent a company that is owned out of state, the Tides, right, this corporation, from taking over the beach. And that's what they've done. They have privatized that beach by the way they arrange their chairs. Other people don't go in that area. They sweep the seaweed to the side and all that. They charge a $40, according to their website, the Tides website, they're currently charging a $40 resort fee. And, well, where's the resort without the beach? And so that includes your towels, your chairs, like 2 hours use of a kayak or paddleboard or something like that. And if that's not a commercial use of the beach, I really don't know what is, because there's nothing else in the Tides property that would be considered a resort. In addition to that, trucking in people from Hidden Pond, which creates a lot of traffic on the back roads, traffic that never existed before. There was a situation, I think it was last fall or the end of last summer, where in the off-season, I think maybe September, October, a resident was walking his dog, and he and his dog were hit by one of the vans from Hidden Pond. And the person who was hit said the guy was speeding. The guy stopped, but he didn't stay for the police to come. So you're probably all aware of it. I don't know how it turned out. But anyway, I've never met anyone that has said they don't want the Tides to exist. I want the Tides to exist. I don't support the Tides right now, and I know not supporting them won't put them out of business for me not buying anything there. But I don't simply because of the creep, the way they have tried to take over the beach. And we've been talking about this for at least 4 or 5 years, you know? And I think that, again, while I know we're talking about the liquor license, it all becomes part of this big jumble of the Tides wanting to expand what it's doing. And I think that's what people are really upset about. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Driver, did you?
Why don't you get Galen up here?
Just briefly.
Because they're all repeating the same thing.
Mr. Bancroft, there is nothing in the state statute that says that it supersedes local ordinances. There is nothing that you can read in that statute that would say that a non-conforming use can get a license for takeout food and takeout liquor and essentially being a package store with and overriding what is a local ordinance. What is involved here, you know, a couple of the people have said, well, separate it, you know, the issue of the beach and and the liquor license, they're separate. They're not separate. The liquor license, as it is proposed, changes the character of the operation of the restaurant. It now becomes a takeout food and takeout liquor. That is not what it was before. So there is a change, and it is consistent with what the Tides has done in terms of encroaching on the beach, expanding their operation on the patio, expanding the area of the restaurant, using the enclosed porch as a place for people to have liquor and food. So it's all intertwined. And you need to resolve the whole thing. Just giving them the liquor license and waiting a year, what are we going to do? What are we going to do next year? We're all going to be back here arguing the same thing? It needs to be resolved. And candidly, if the Tides was realistic, they would just say, give us a regular liquor license. We're fine with it. Our major business is the restaurant and the bar in the hotel.
Thank you. Thanks. Mary Beth, you had some questions. Or would the board like me to ask Galen to come up?
Can we make some comments?
You certainly can.
Okay. So I just want to thank everybody for speaking this evening on their experiences and where we are. I mean, I think I'm where John was headed, where, again, I want to start out by saying that the Tides is a business within the community that we appreciate them being there. They've got a long legacy, and many of the members that spoke tonight, or residents that spoke tonight, spoke favorably, of that, and we definitely do not want the business to go away. But as a board member, we are here not to create a slippery slope for ordinances, nor are we here to, ignore state statutes. We're actually here to make sure that we're enforcing those. So back in 1972, the town had voted in the zoning ordinances. This area became locked. The Tides did, and so for me personally, I'm where John is, where, at some point I'd like to hear from Galen where he is on thinking through the nonconformance part of this. I just like to put in some of my personal stories. I read the note from Marie to Emily, but I've had a different personal experience. So my personal experience was that I went to the Tides to get coffee to go when Marie owned it, because I forgot the coffee back in New York and was not allowed to take coffee to go. My husband went down there to get 2 fish fries to go because we were doing work at his parents' house, and it was late and tired, and we weren't allowed to do fish fries to go. So it was a very different experience, so that's my own personal experience. So, and then there's comments made about, just issue the liquor to go. But as I've been sitting here listening to the residents, I go back to the zoning ordinance of that footprint and what I personally know to be true at that point in time of what the Tides was during this transition and when Marie owned it. And so and Mr. Driver pointed out several times, and many other residents, about the front yard and the porch. So if you guys are saying, hey, just give them the basic liquor license, if I'm here to do for the zoning ordinance as it's written and to be a guardian of making sure that we're following the ordinances that the residents have voted in, I don't even know if I could grant that one. So that's why I think it's very important now to hear from, the other board members, as well as get some feedback from Galen on where we stand on, are we in compliance? Are we out of compliance? And where is this all headed?
David, do you want to add to that?
I'm going to let the others speak first, but I
Okay.
would like to hear from Galen too. I mean, it might help us.
Hey, Galen,
before
everybody's
I-
hollering for your name.
And you know what, if they want to talk, just say, if you have something.
Good evening. Here, I thought I was just coming to talk about some ordinance changes. I hope the Growth Planning Committee and the Planning Board have been entertained. But to answer folks' questions, we've heard loud and clear from your last meeting that you've had, that was public record. And then we've also received personally, the town, a bunch of correspondence from residents already about the question of nonconforming. So I think it's important for residents and the select board to understand the process that we as a code enforcement and planning department take when we receive complaints. And so what happens is when we receive a complaint, the code enforcement officer, who is a statutory required office holder for the town, they will then do a thorough investigation. After the thorough investigation is complete, a report is generated, and then that's where the fork in the road goes. So right now, it's the town's policy that we do not discuss ongoing investigations. I will confirm to you all that there is an investigation currently pending because of all the complaints that we have been receiving. And so I am working with my staff to investigate this further, and hopefully we'll have a report to you as soon as possible.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for
There's a hand raised over there, Alan. I think it's Mr. Brendan
Yep.
Donovan.
You want to?
My name is Brendan Donovan. I live at Kings Highway. Can you hear me?
Yes.
From a business standpoint, I've been involved in more liquor licenses than I care to count. In each and every, in multi-states, I was involved in Holiday Inns around the country. In multiple states, in each and every case, the hotel had a liquor license, and the liquor license ran with the land. If the hotel operator wanted to do something, cater something off property, he had to get a permit for that in each and every case. And I can't believe that the liquor licenses in the state of Maine don't run with the land, that the operator can use them off property. At the Tides instance, have people take liquor and go to the beach.
Can you put the microphone?
I'm sorry, who
Yep.
take liquor and go to the beach. That's off property. And I can't believe the town does not require, that the state does not require a separate permit. I also spoke a number of times this week with Tracy Gear, and she has attempted to speak to the people at the state level who oversee liquor license applications. And as it relates to the Tides, there is no liquor license application pending for a renewal of their license. That's at the state level via Tracy Gear, my local state rep. As another sidelight, approximately 2 years ago, I was walking on the beach. There were numerous seats in front of the Tides, unoccupied. The majority were unoccupied. Given my problems, that are my problems, I went to sit down in a chair, empty, in front of the Tides, and this gentleman walks up to me with a container. I speculate it was beer. Told me, was I staying at the Tides? I said, no. And the gentleman politely said, you can't sit in our chairs. I said, well, I'm gonna sit in the chair. Why don't you just call the police and have them come down and tell me that I can't sit in your chair? And after about 20, 30 minutes, nothing happened. I got up and continued on my way. So, I mean, that's my business experience, that's my personal experience at the Tides. People staying at our house who go over the Tides found the drinks to be awfully expensive. But that's the Tides. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Hearing none? How about the board?
No, I'm gonna, you guys can speak. I'll speak later.
Does anybody else have anything to ask, or say, or add to it?
So you
Okay.
want somebody to make a motion, or?
Oh, no, then I do, all right. So, here's what I'm hearing. I've talked to 27 different people in this town through email and phone calls, and making people who have called me on their own, people I have gone to visit on my own. And I hear what you're saying. But I want people to know that it is, as it has been here tonight, I think that it is evenly divided. A lot of people in this town do not want to see this liquor license rejected. I might view this different than you, or some of you. I view this as the liquor license has run with this property or this establishment for years, decades. I don't view the liquor license as a non-conforming use. I may be wrong, but I don't view it as a non-conforming use. So they have a liquor license, and there is a liquor license, and it's not non-conforming because it was grandfathered. To some extent, it was grandfathered because it was there before all the zoning went in. They have not violated their liquor license. There's nothing I have heard from the police department, there's nothing I've heard from the state liquor department that would indicate that the Tides has had selling to underage children, that they have wild alcohol bashes going on, and the police are having to come. I'm of the view, as I was 2 weeks ago, that this is a renewal of their liquor license. As every other restaurant in this town has come before us and had their licenses renewed and had the option of a cocktails to go. I believe that there is a difference of opinion of what a cocktails to go is. This is not a Bourbon Street in New Orleans where people are just taking cocktails and walking down the street drinking willy-nilly. There is a procedure that has to be followed, and it is being followed. I also feel that from what I'm hearing from a lot of the people here tonight, some of the people testifying against, kind of against or here against, are dealing with the other issues. They have actually, some of them have said, do not deny this liquor license. This liquor license expires on Monday. That is a fact. So if they do not get an approval by Monday, or by this meeting, but by Monday, on Tuesday, I'm assuming that the Tides has not able to sell any liquor to anyone down there who's going to show up for dinner or whatever. Their liquor license is dead until we either do something else or the state does something. I don't know if denying it, now, to Ms. Coffin's, I think I got it right, Ms. Coffin's thing and some of the others, I fully agree that there are some issues. And I fully agree that, in fairness, I am the new member on this board. I think that these issues have been around for years for you folks who have been here, and they have not been adequately addressed. I've said to some of you who I've talked to, I am willing to help you adequately address those other issues. The town code enforcement needs to look into some of them. That's perfectly fine. We need to deal with it. But the common sense thing here, as someone else said, give it to them for a year and let's see what happens. Keep them monitored, keep them there. But to your point, Peg, I mean, it's a great point you made, but there's nothing in the state level or in the police logs that would say that this liquor license is out of control. And I don't think anyone in here really thinks it's out of control. I think they have other issues that are out of control. So that's what I want to say, that this liquor license expires on Monday. Come Tuesday, they have no liquor license if it's not approved, and this has been sitting here for weeks. When I came on this board, the very first time, I said it was time to move the can down the road. It's time to make decisions. The board needs to make a decision, in my opinion, tonight. Approve or deny. And we can, that's what I think. And we can deal with all the other issues. And I think, in fairness, to the people at the Tides, you're going to have to deal with some issues. Admittedly, I think you have to deal with issues. And I also want to say to the general public, this is a public beach. So if any of you feel intimidated about sitting in front of the Tides area, that is on you. It is a public beach. It is a public beach. I'm just going to say it is a public beach. You have every right to sit on the public beach, anywhere on that public beach. So I'll end it there.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, so I'd just like to address a few of those things. So again, I go back to, just sitting back and listening, so I want to make sure that people understand where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the point of, in 1972, the town voted for a zoning ordinance. And then at that point, things are locked in stone for this thing. And yes, was there commercial creep? Yes. But my concern on the board is that we have heard this before. We've heard it greatly now in the last few weeks. And it's time for the board to take some actions, to give direction to, Galen has already said, he's doing a investigation. I would like to get findings from that investigation, be able to then decide on, whether or not we can approve or disapprove of this license. I cannot personally hold or stand or say that the license is running up or running out on the 12th. That is not, I don't take that on me. I didn't, the Tides could submit at any point, and it's just that it's now to a point where the rubber is hitting the road and we're at this concern, but I cannot negate my duty to uphold ordinances that we're voting on by the town and say, okay, I'm not going to uphold that because this business is going to run out of their liquor license. I can't do that. And we have a code enforcement officer. He's said he's opened an investigation on this. I need to hear back on what his findings are, be able to make this decision on the liquor license. And just one last thing, I must have it on me because I was intimidated by the Tides in terms of their area. So I just want to acknowledge that I don't want to put that onus on the people because I do think residents are very respectful or try to be respectful, and it's a tough thing when you're walking into a stream of yellow chairs. So I just, I don't want to get in a situation, but I want to say that I'm a resident that I must have it on me, I am intimidated by the number of chairs. And so Mr. Chair, at some point, or if somebody else wants to make a motion, I think that would be my heading for a
John,
motion.
thank you.
Yeah,
Do you have anything to say?
I would. If I may, I'd like just to echo Mary Beth's concern about sticking with what our ordinances say in terms of a commercial activity within a residential area. It is clear in the rules that manage the allowing of liquor, particularly of to-go. There are findings that say that if it can be denied by the locality, if it is in a situation that is a non-compliance of a licensed premise or its use violates any local zoning ordinances, and they do not have to be even directly related to alcohol use. I am concerned that I would need to hear what the code enforcement officer can bring forward before I could separate voting for a license to go when it is clearly, I believe, and then we'll see again what the findings are, but I believe it's being granted to a non-compliant commercial entity within a residential zone. And if that's the case, I'm not inclined to approve it. So I'd like to hear what we find.
Sheila?
I agree with David. I think they've been a good business in that area. They haven't done, the Tides has not done anything wrong at this point. And legally, because I think we have to follow the law, we have to, not have to, we should issue the license, the liquor license.
I happen to agree with John and Mary Beth. I would like to hear more. I'd like to see Galen come back with his report on non-conforming uses or whatever he does find. I'd like to also table this till the 19th. Does that work? The 19th?
I think there's some other comments. Do we want to
Well,
take?
can we take a motion and then?
Yes.
So you want me to make a motion?
You can
or?
make a motion.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we allow our code enforcement officer, Galen, to continue on and to get to his findings with the expectations that we get feedback by the 19th. What month are we in?
May.
May, thanks, May 19th. And then we can make a determination based on those findings for on the non-conformance issues.
I'll second that.
Well,
I have a first and a second. Any more
that is not
discussion?
she did not say table the motion. She did not say table the license, correct? We're not tabling the license, we're not
Table
tabling?
decision.
We're
You-
tabling the decision.
You didn't say that, though.
Okay, so I'll amend my motion and say that I would like to table the decision until May 19th with the expectations that we're going to get nonconformance findings from Galen's, from our code enforcement's investigation, and then the board would be able to make a decision based on those findings.
I have a first.
Second.
Any more discussion with this? You have your hand raised, or do I have?
Yep. Hold on, Alex.
Yeah.
Alex, 1 second.
Yeah, just a quick alternative. The Tides could easily withdraw from the state. They could commit to you that for 30 days or 60 days, they will not exercise that part of their license, they'll withdraw it. You could go ahead and approve the license, and then once this happens, they could, and you decide it's fine, then they can resubmit the to-go license. If you decide it's a, expanding a non-conforming use, then you tell them, don't bring it back in.
Thank you.
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, I have a first and second. Any more discussion on the board? All in favor of the motion? All opposed? 3-2.
So it's tabled.
It's tabled till the 19th.
So their liquor license is done, no drinking at the Tides on Tuesday.
Now, unless the state intervenes with a temporary.
We'll see what happens.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your information.
Okay, number 9, Shade Tree Committee presentation by John Ripton.
Hold on 1 second, John.
Yeah, I'm going to.
People don't want to stay for the Shade Tree Committee report?
Sorry, John, I don't know what that says.
People could learn about our shade trees. Where are you going? John, is it something you said?
Maybe something about
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for having us here to report a little bit on what the Shade Tree Committee does. give you a sense of the nature, and the residents a sense of the nature of the Shade Tree Committee, the kind of work that it does. First, let me just say that we meet each month, the second Thursday of each month. We have 4 members: Steve Hanna, Nina Perlmutter, also Tricia Shotwell, who is here, and I. I don't think I've missed anyone. And there is a person that does come to the meetings and sits in and is applying, will be applying, if he hasn't already today, as a new member, Frank Gruber. I convene the meetings, and we discuss, all the issues related to trees that are appropriate at the moment that we're in session. First, I should say a little bit about the history of the Shade Tree Committee. It goes back to the early 1960s, and since that time, really, the town of Kennebunkport has consistently dedicated resources to preserving, maintaining, and planting trees. Back in the early 1960s, the real concern was the elms. The damage done by the Dutch elm disease was of real concern. And since we have a number, right now, approximately still 90 elm trees, and back then, I'm sure many, many more, it was important to protect those elm trees, and so a group of people got together and began to monitor it for disease to see if they could intervene in time to ensure that those trees survived. And that kind of work has been very, very important to the survival of the elms. And I'll address a little bit more about that later. Most of the work has been volunteer work, volunteer tree wardens even, volunteer people in special projects. And right now, I'm a town employee at a limited level, plenty of responsibility. At any rate, in the early, at first, the Shade Tree, in the 1990s, the Shade Tree Committee began to tag trees around town. And they tagged the elms, of course, and they tagged other trees that they thought were of particular importance to the tree canopy of the town in terms of its health and so forth. And they tagged trees not only along the public walkways, the streets, they also tagged them in the backyards and side yards of people's houses, of residents. Now, for a long period of time, the town was taking full responsibility financially for the care of those trees. And it became untenable at some point, and we did a cost-share agreement where the town would assume 50%, and the residents would assume 50% of the work that need to be done on those trees. Now we're up to the present, and we continue with the Shade Tree Committee, and there are a number of things that I'd like to mention that it does, so that it gives people a sense of exactly what we're about. First, we regularly maintain the town's tree canopy by interacting with Bartlett tree experts, also Steve Bryant Tree Service, to do the necessary pruning, even sometimes the removal of trees. To give you an idea of what this type of work involves, this type of responsibility involves, we, a few years back, decided to do an injection program for the elms. And so each year, 1/3 of the elms DBH is injected. 1/3 of the elms, in effect, are injected. And it's a 3-year program. So the second year, of course, the next third, and the third year, the remaining third. And it goes on continuously. Another example of the work that we're doing is in this particular instance, was to ensure public safety. You may have noticed that the tree off Dock Square, the native red maple, has been taken down. That tree had lost a lot of branches. For the last couple of years, we've hoped to be able to take it down, and it was taken down last week, I think it was. And we found that much of the base of the tree was rotted, And even up where the branches were that were remaining, not a whole lot of them, but they were huge branches, they were rotted as well. So that's an important initiative that we took in order to be able to ensure public safety related to the trees. Each year, we apply for the designation of Tree City USA. We fill out the applications. The recognition of the city has to do with how many, the number of trees we plant, also how much budget the town commits to the maintenance and preservation of trees. And certainly Kennebunkport meets those provisions that the Arbor Day Foundation requires in order to be designated a Tree City USA. We've been designated the Tree City USA since 1977. The Arbor Day Foundation started the Tree City program in 1976. So we're one of the oldest in the nation, and we're one of two in Maine that began in 1977. Each year we celebrate Arbor Day at Consolidated School. We'll do it again this year on May 16th. And each year we present a short presentation on trees, hopefully raising the interest of the kids, piquing their interest, and the awareness of the trees that the parents attend as well. And we try to raise some awareness of the trees, the importance of the trees in Kennebunkport. We give out, this is an arrangement we make with the Bartlett tree experts, we give out approximately 250 trees each year. This year we're giving out 500. That means each student and staff will take home two trees. Now, do they plant them all? We can't be certain of that. But we do have students come up, children come up each year and say, well, our tree is this tall, it's doing well. So that is a good program. We've given over 1,000 seedlings so far, and at the end of this year it'll be 1,500. We've applied and received 2 project canopy grants, particularly to plant trees, one of the grants, another to update our inventory and to re-tag our trees, which Tricia Shotwell did this fall, and that was under a Project Canopy grant. So we applied for those through the committee. A lot of the tags are damaged and lost, so we needed to replace them. We have collaborated with the University of New England in their American Chestnut Restoration Program, where they are trying to they have found a wheat gene, which they introduce into the gene of the genome of the American chestnut tree, and that would presumably make it resistant to the blight. But it's still in the process right now. But we have been working with them and offering chestnut trees, American chestnut trees, to residents to plant, so that possibly in the next few years there will be a transgenic gene, and they will be able to pollinate their trees with this transgenic gene, and hopefully build resistance into the trees.
That's pretty cool.
We've planted 40 new shade trees over the past 4 years. We put together recently a PowerPoint of 25 slides that we're using to go out to the community and educate them about the trees, the importance of the trees in Kennebunkport. Last night we had our first inauguration of that slideshow at the Conservation Trust, and it went very well. We had a good reception to it and a good discussion, and we also plan to do one. Yet we don't have the date yet, but at the public library. And if you know of any groups that you would suggest that we present this program to, we welcome that. But we're going to seek out other places to present the program so that we build kind of more awareness about the trees. We have written articles for the town newsletter, both on the benefits of trees and the ecology of trees. A couple of years ago, we did a program at Graves Library where we invited the head of the Shade Tree Committee in Portland to come down and speak. And we also there was 3 sessions. One was his appearance and his conveying what they were doing in Portland. And the other 2 were done by Nina Perlmutter, and I did one as well. The Elm Watch group needs to be mentioned. Every summer, we organize the Elm Watch group. This is a group of volunteers, about 15 to 18 of them. They go out and monitor the elms for any indication of Dutch elm disease. They become sort of introduced to what they need to look for, and they've been doing this for several summers, and it's very important. For example, the tree on Pearl and not Pearl, on School Street and Main Street, where Home and Away used to be, that tree there is an elm at the corner. One of the Elm Watch volunteers saw the flag, an indication of Dutch elm disease there several years ago. And we were able to go in, cut the branch off, go back 10 feet to the good wood, hopefully. They usually go back 10 feet, cut it, and if it's good wood, then we've arrested the progress of that disease. And you can see this tree is still there, and there's no indication of the disease. I mean, it's a tree that's old, and it's, you know, it's weakened, but nevertheless, it's still there, and it's viable. We completed the tree inventory update that Tricia worked on. We will be applying for the 2026 Tree City USA. I'm just looking through these things. Yeah, another thing that we do is that I do, but the committee is involved in discussing this, and I report to them about it, is to go out to residents and speak to them about trees, maybe replacement trees. We've developed a list of trees that, based on, you know, diversity, that people can consider in replacing a tree or planting a new tree. So I go out and I discuss with residents these possibilities. Recently, I just yesterday actually was talking with a resident about an apple tree that's a tagged apple. It's a tagged tree. It's going to be cut down, and he's agreed to plant a few shade trees in the back of his yard, in order to be able to replace that. And I thought it was great that he was willing to do that. But that's the kind of thing that we try to encourage. Another example is a tree on Main Street, which CMP had permission to cut down by the owner. And I went to the owner and spoke with the owner about it, and the decision came about that we would prune the tree rather than actually remove it. So this is important discussions that we have with residents. To give you an idea, just an idea of what of the commitments that we have on a monthly basis. May is a particularly active month for us, but we presented the Conservation Trust, as I mentioned last night. We will, on May 16th, we'll do the program at Consolidated School. On May 17th, we're going to have a table at the Community Open House. And on May 23rd, or another member is going to go to Augusta to receive the recognition, Tree City USA recognition, and participate in their Arbor Day celebration there. So that gives you an idea of what we're doing. I should mention also that I didn't mention before when I was talking about the injection of fungicide on the elms on a 3-year basis. we're also injecting several ashes around town and looking to see if there are other ashes that we want to inject. Those are done on a yearly basis, but we have to make sure, you know, with the budget, whether or not this is feasible. Another thing is that we discussed this today, and a couple of things that we discussed today. One was the three-phase line practice that the CMP is going to introduce this year. Three-phase refers to the wires. There are three wires that run over the top of the telephone poles in some cases. They're really at the very top of high poles oftentimes. They have, when they are extended to a house, they have what's called a field conductor, which is a conductor unit that's on the wires. CMP wants to have 8-foot clearance of that. So in other words, they want to be sure that for reasons of fire and other reasons that they do not have any tree or branch within 8 feet of the field conductor. So I had a conversation with Joe Ian, who is the person who manages the tree work here related to CMP. And I'm going to be traveling around with him and looking at the three-phase line and looking at those trees. We have a good relationship, and we'll be able to look at them and see whether or not the trees can actually be pruned and make sure that, and he's aware of this and agrees with it, that we try to avoid the removal of trees. We also discussed today briefly mentioned today the work that Tricia did in identifying trees that might be weakened or had branches that look to be rotting and need to be addressed. And so Tricia's putting together a list of addresses and her observations. And Noah Tucker from Bartlett Tree Experts and I are going to go out and go through those over probably a couple of different days to do it, maybe 2 or 3 days. So with that, hopefully I've given you an idea of what the Shade Tree Committee does, and I'm open to any questions that you have.
I have a question.
Sure.
On one of your goals, it says you have down here, achieve greater clarity of the town's responsibility regarding tagged shade trees. What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that?
What are you looking for?
Just to make sure that right now we have a cost share program. There was a period of time when we didn't, and it was difficult for me to determine at that time what to do. So you just cut out the cost share program. I no longer offered it. I think that I'm just interested in making sure that that cost share program applies to all the tag trees and not just to the elm trees. So I just want to see that there's greater clarity and understanding about that. I know that there's an understanding that the tag trees can be cost shared, but a lot of times I'm concerned about whether or not I can, actually apply that in some cases, because they're not elm trees, and so I guess that doesn't answer the question very well. I've tried my best. You'll just have to let me retire on this.
I was just curious what you meant by that. Would this have anything to do with an ordinance change?
Oh, of course we're interested in an ordinance.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But that does not have to do with an ordinance change. No, what it has to do with is simply trying to clarify a little bit more about the tag trees. But that's not to say that we have not in the back of our minds how we might move forward to greater protection of the trees. But I understand the reasons that the Select Board rejected our proposed tree ordinance early in the year. So we're looking into what other kinds of proposals we might be able to make that would enhance the preservation of the trees.
I'm still not interested in changing the ordinance. Like, I like the ordinance the way it is. I don't know about the other board members, but.
Yeah, I think people have made that clear, but that's still, I appreciate that, but we still, as a shade tree committee, have an interest in preserving the trees, so we're just exploring various kinds of options that might be out there that we could share with the select board and perhaps move forward in some areas, not in the areas that were so roundly rejected at the last meeting I had here.
Appreciate it. I think, Sheila, you have a comment?
Mine is just a comment. I want to compliment all of you for the work that you do. Having come from the city, I really didn't know the whole procedure of what goes on with trees in a town. For some reason, I just thought they, grew up in a yard and you saw them and they're beautiful. I give you all the credit in the world for what you do. As a business person in town, the town in the fall is absolutely
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. And then times like this, when the leaves are just coming out, you do an excellent job, and I thank you personally for all the work that you do.
Well, thank you.
And so do I, and I think the rest of the whole board does the same. I mean, seems to me like you guys are pretty busy.
Yeah, we are. We're quite busy. Other questions or comments?
No,
people make?
I would echo what has been said. You guys do a great job. You really
Thank
do.
you.
And if there's ways we can help you, you should feel free. I know your meetings you have on Thursday. Is it at 1:30?
No, it's at 9 in the morning.
9 in the morning for about an hour and a
I
half.
should mention that Eric LaBelle and Elizabeth Stone also attend those meetings when
Yeah.
they can.
One thing I would just like to say is, I appreciate everything you do, and you do a great job. One thing that, I know it's not your purview, but it might be an interesting thing to undertake, is kind of figuring out what to do with a lot of the dead wood around town, and trying to, is there a way that we could kind of get rid of some of that so that we don't have a forest fire potential? As you drive down streets. I mean, I'm not saying that's your, I just think it's something that would be worthwhile to have a conversation about. Is there a way of managing that, and removing some of it?
I don't know that we would be in a position to do that. I think Public Works has gone, when storms have occurred, Public Works has gone in and taken care of the damaged trees and the downed trees. I don't know if that falls more in their purview or not, but it's not something that we've addressed. I can bring it up. I'll bring it up in a meeting.
Yeah, I mean, happy to come and have a conversation about it.
Yeah, okay.
Any more questions from the board?
No, I just also would like to thank John and the team, and I personally, like I said before, I've been on the town website and read up a lot of stuff, and like Sheila, I didn't know a lot of things that went on with the trees.
Yeah, I
And,
hope the thing that I wrote gave you
yeah,
a
it's
good
very
idea of
helpful.
what was,
Yep, very
the
helpful.
history of it. Okay, great.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, you had something. Go ahead.
I just want to add something.
This is Tricia.
I re-tagged 1,000 of the trees in town. So I got to know all the trees, and I just, it may sound silly, but we just want to protect the trees. The canopy is so important in this town, and there's just so many fabulous trees. Like, I got to know quite a bit of them. So I know it's crazy. I'm a tree hugger, but that's all. We just want to protect the trees.
And we
So-
appreciate that you do.
Oh, I know you do. I know you do. So as far as that's all.
Right.
That's all I want to say.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Tricia,
very
Tricia, you
much.
took care of that one in front of my house, so I'm very happy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item 10, consideration of Ivy Lane, whoa. Consideration of Ivy Lane Water District Utility, what, did I miss something?
She said there's a hand raised.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to be like, hey.
Oh, yeah. I thought you-
Karen, you can speak, please. Karen, I think you're muted. Can you please unmute?
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We
Yes,
can.
we can.
Hello, this is Karen Schlegel. Hello, friends. I served as tree warden back when, and I just want to support what they do. There's a lot of background work that I think a lot of us don't appreciate, and I want to be there for them. Our tree and our canopy is a beautiful thing going forward. I'm glad they are retagging the trees because a lot of the tags needed to be retagged. Because a lot of folks that own properties don't even know they have a tagged tree on their property. So I want to appreciate the tree committee and what they're doing, and thank you for their work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
And keep forward, we need to be the Tree City USA once again.
Oh,
It's a
that's what
good thing for us.
I was gonna ask John that question, whether or not Kennebunk was also a tree city. Or are we up, or are we one
We
up?
gotta be, we're smaller, we can do it.
I think we're up on them.
Ah, there we go.
you
Thanks,
go.
Karen.
Thank you.
All right, over and out. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your help.
Bye.
All right, bye.
So small, it's good.
Okay, item number 10, consideration of Ivy Lane Water District Utility Line Easement.
Yes, I was contacted by Bruce Reed, who is representing Bill and Maureen Berkeley, who own a parcel of land off of Ivy Lane, and you have a diagram that he sent me. And so the parcel is Lot 2A, which is the one outlined in pen
Yep.
that has the long drive going through it. And so they want to get public water to their property. The water district is willing to extend the line, but they need verification from all the property owners along Colony Avenue, whether they wish to have the water line easement extended to their property or not. What Mr. Reed informed me was that the property labeled Buck and the property labeled Perkins are both interested in accepting the water line easement, but they believe Strachan and Martin will not. We own those two very small parcels that are tax acquired between Perkins and Martin. And so they just need verification for the water district as to that we received this notice and whether or not at this point in time we want to accept the water line easement. The board cannot accept or give an easement without town meeting approval. So it's something we could not partake in without a special town meeting. So I assume that you are going to decline it at this point and opt out.
That still allows them to move forward
Yes.
with what they want to do. So we really only act if we had a concern about this thing going in, right? That would be the
Or
only
if you
reason.
wanted to extend it yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't oversee the water line extension. Just as a property owner, we're given access to it if we choose.
Right. So I'd like to make a motion that we opt out of the water line easement.
I have a first,
I'll second that.
a first and second. Any discussion? Hear none, all in favor? 5-0. Perfect. Okay. Other business, David?
The only other business I don't want to, I would just say keep your ears open for some news regarding the Neighborhood Housing Trust.
Say that again.
About the
I would say keep your ears open for some news regarding the Neighborhood Housing Trust project on Beechwood Ave. That's all I will say for right now.
Good
Okay.
and exciting news.
Yep. Great. Mary Beth?
Yes, I'd like to make a public announcement, as we make announcements for other boards, for the Chems Board, that the residents have received a mailing for donations if possible. So I
Already
just,
sent it back.
I would like, thank you, Sheila. And we'd like to, just remind residents that it's in your mail, and if you could please help and support the Chems business. They provide an excellent service to our residents here with a really great response time and very professional, highly trained medics, or paramedics.
Yep.
And they're gonna need a new ambulance fairly soon. So we could use the help. John?
Yeah, I'd like to just inform folks that the Climate Resiliency Committee, it's looking like we'll have three, at least two and probably three openings for a one-year term. And I'm hoping folks will keep that in mind and watch for the opportunity to apply to join the committee in our work.
Is that it? Sheila?
I have nothing.
I have nothing. Boss? You have something?
I would just say that our staff has finalized the spring newsletter, and so that should be in the mail for people shortly. And the town report is looking good. Yanina headed that project up this year, and it looks terrific, and so that should be out shortly as well.
Oh, good, great. Okay, item 12, approve the May 8th, 2025 treasurer's warrant.
So moved.
Second?
Have a first and second, all in favor? Okay, item 13, Sheila,
Move to adjourn.
Second?
all in favor? Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.